Hello readers. Well, the following is an extract from my autobiographical novel Secret Summer, in which you will meet Big Bill Bulman. He was an obese American gentleman I first met in 1966. Please note, caution, I will be using offensive racist language because I quote him directly. His real name was Bill Sylvie. At that time he was resident at the Old Swan Hotel in Harrogate, but he was also resident on a daily basis in the Harrogate Royal Baths. As I describe in the book in some erotic detail, I do describe his services that he rendered there to other bathers. Anyway, Big Bill, a cultured Anglophile, had a love of Harrogate's beauty. That's why he settled in this country. He really enjoyed Harrogate. He was charmed by its beautiful gardens and expressed his feelings in a roaring deep south accent. He wrote me letters raving about the crocuses, which were the biggest tulips. And he bellowed self-promotion. He often used to say, because he was a big fat man, "I'm a landmark in these parts." Well, it was sometime towards the late 1980s, and I was surprised to hear that he still lived in Harrogate. The sad news of his death came shortly afterwards. I wanted to honour his memory with a cameo, but also, if I were going to do that, I needed to inject some honesty by exploring the paradox of his racial bigotry, contrasted with an assertion for gay rights and the need for homosexuals to respect themselves. Many former friends who share same-sex attraction have proved to be racially prejudiced, I'm afraid, and quick to discriminate. Sadly, Big Bill is an example of that. He was amusing, and I recall him with affection. But he was a good example of, what shall I say, this illogical ignorance. Anyway, Big Man's throaty conversation was informative and cultured, and yet curiously at odds with his gruff manner. In thick and crusty tones, Big Bill was able to deliver intelligent comment on a range of subjects. He was, for example, a regular visitor to a rough and rowdy pub called the Junction in Bradford, and he couldn't stand effeminate men. He was very intolerant of them, and he was appalled by one in particular, an outrageous and garrulous queen known as Hetty Howard, who regularly held court. I think we've all seen that sort of person, haven't we, when we've been to pubs in the old days, maybe today, I don't know. Anyway, this flamboyant flame admitted to being 45 years old, but I used to pal around with a scruffy urchin called Fluff, and he thought he could get away with less than that. He thought that, well preserved, he could probably be late 30s. My private estimate was middle 50s, I'll tell you. But Bill, well, he was more experienced and far less kind, and he had a sharp eye, and he let rip in an explosive guffaw. "That old queen, 45? Why, that mendacious bitch! Why, he is a painted hag! He done put the clock back some 20 years. Next time you look at him, you'll see more art than nature. Check out the little haggard lines around his eyes. Yeah, you'll they'll see how black they are. Those eyebrows, oh, they're more black than a nigger's ass. More black than ever nature intended. Huh?" This fat old American from the Mississippi Delta, that's where he came from, a really primitive part of the United States. He possessed this curious mixture of innate racism and, yet for 1966, had a fairly progressive attitude to homosexuals. He passed judgment on the actor Alan Bates, who had twice stayed at the Old Swan Hotel. I was surprised to learn that he was gay. "Didn't you know? Why, sure, it's true. He's as queer as a $3 bill, but he don't like it. No, sir. He's paranoid about his lover, Peter Wingard. Peter told me so himself." I have to walk 2 paces behind Alan. If we go to a party, we can never arrive together. I have to go earlier or later. "Shit! I wouldn't stand for that. No way. I've been in this hotel for years. I've seen it all. Oh, it is so sad. Hey, Dirk Bogart, yeah. He's been here with his boys. Shit, creeping around the corridors, obsessed with secrecy, caution, and God knows what. I don't say shout it from the rooftops, but if folks like us couldn't just find the courage to acknowledge our friendships, shit, why, we should face the world as we are.